Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today we're doing a what's next on Serheii Bohachuk, the former WBC Interim Champion, following his second career defeat at the hands of Vergil Ortiz Jr. in the main event of an August 10th card, as he lost a very close firefight decision. Now, before we get into that, if you could smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel, I really do appreciate any and all support that I can get as I continue to build my channel here. So again, this was an all-out war right here. Fight of the year candidate. I went back and watched the highlights of it because I wasn't there to watch the fight. I was at my son's baseball tournament. I coach travel baseball, and I missed the fight live. But man, this ended up being a fucking war. Bohachuk scored 2 knockdowns. There's a lot of people that thought he won the fight, but not a lot of people complaining that it was controversial. It was a close fight, and close fights can go either way. And it was an all-out war, and Bohachuk outperformed what people thought he was going to do. Even myself, I thought Bohachuk could win the fight. I told everybody this dude was a threat. I still thought Ortiz was going to knock him out, and Bohachuk is the one that scored knockdowns in this fight. And I felt this fight was going to end by knockout one way or the other, and both these dudes showed a ton of heart and went the full 12. So a great fight right here between these two guys. Bohachuk outperformed, and he, outperformed what people expected. So now, he's kind of a hot commodity. But, is that going to be a detriment to him because of his knockout ratio, because he's not a huge name? Are people going to give him opportunities? That's the kind of shit that happens when you perform this well. So I'm interested in seeing. So let's run through the top 10 and see what's possible. We start with Terrence Crawford, WBA champion, coming off the win over Madrimov. I don't think Crawford is going to fight Bohachuk. I don't think he would consider him. Not a big name. He already fought one Eastern European fighter in Madrimov, who was not a big name. Struggled a little bit with him. It was a close fight, but he won. And, Bohachuk did lose the fight to Ortiz. So I don't think Crawford would entertain this one. Tim Tszyu, not going to happen. Tszyu's fighting Bakhram Murtazalayev for the IBF title next, so that's off the table. Then there's Jermell Charlo. Interesting battle. I don't think Charlo is going to take on a guy like Bohachuk, at least not next. I think Charlo is going to come back after a long layoff and really make sure he fights the right guy, somebody beatable, that's not going to pose too much of a threat, and that's not Bohachuk, so I don't see this one. Israil Madrimov. Love this matchup right here, especially now. Both of them coming off close decision losses in fights where they outperformed and came in heavy underdogs and showed the world how good they are. It's an easy fight to make. I say, why not? These guys come back in January. Come back on the Fury and Usyk rematch card in December. That would be huge. And Bohachuk is in Turki Al-Ashik's good graces because apparently Turki Al-Ashik came up to Bohachuk after the fight with Ortiz and told him he thought he won. So this is a great matchup right here. It's a true crossroads fight, but the winner puts his best foot forward, and it's a great match. So, I would go for it if I'm Bohachuk trying to make a name for himself, trying to throw himself back in the mix after a fight that he thought he won. Why not? You got the confidence, take the fucking chance. And Madrimov, same thing. You thought you won, you got the confidence, take the fucking chance. Go after each other. I think this is a smart matchup. Erickson Lubin, not on the table. Lubin apparently is in line to fight the winner of Tszyu and Murtazalayev for the IBF title, so he's not going to fight Bohachuk. Jesus Ramos, great matchup for Bohachuk right here. I don't think Ramos will take it, so I'm going to say no there. Even though they're both highly rated in the WBC, Ramos is actually number 5 now, and Bohachuk's number 2. So it would be a significant bout, but I don't think the PBC wants to put Ramos in with Bohachuk. Then you got Brian Mendoza in a rematch. I don't see that one. Bohachuk handled Mendoza. Even though it was short notice for Mendoza, he still handled him and shut him out over 12 rounds, so I don't see that one. IBF champion Bakhram Murtazalayev. No, it's not going to happen. He's lined up to fight Tim Tszyu next, and he's got a mandatory, I believe, in Erickson Lubin waiting after. A rematch of Vergil Ortiz, it should happen. It won't happen. Ortiz doesn't want to fight Bohachuk again. I'm not saying he's afraid. I'm just saying he doesn't want to fight him again. He has not mentioned him once following the fight. That means that's I got the win, and I'm not. I don't want. I don't want to. I don't want. I don't want. I don't want to run it back with this guy. Not now, anyways. So that sends a clear message when you don't speak the guy's name at all after a close ass fight. That sends a direct message to me. Other guys, Magomed Kurbanov, interesting battle. Kurbanov, I don't think would take it trying to come back because he got dominated and TKO'd against Israel Madrimov and suffered his first loss back in March. So I don't think he'd fight Bohachuk next. Michel Soro might be kind of a step back for Bohachuk, but he's also a guy that has a technical draw and a close decision loss with controversial loss to Madrimov. Might be something to look into, but in terms of name recognition, it could be considered a step back. But if he's lucky enough to get on a big card, I think Turki Al-Sheikh would pay for a fight of this magnitude to happen just so people could see Bohachuk return. Yoenis Tellez, kind of a high-risk fight. Not enough fights in, but Tellez is a talented guy that was in my top 10 at the end of last year, but he hasn't really done much since, and he's only about 5, 6, 7 fights in. So I just don't think it's a fight Bohachuk should entertain right now. Errol Spence Jr., not going to happen. Spence is fighting Fundora. Not a big enough name right here. Charles Conwell, a good matchup right here that I think could definitely be made because, again, Bohachuk's number 2 in the WBC and Conwell's number 4. So this is a fight that could be made. Conwell's undefeated, wants to make a splash for himself. You're not a big name, though, so why not him and Bohachuk just to move up the ladder in the WBC? I think it could happen. Abbas Barao, I don't see that one. Xander Zayas, undefeated. I don't think the PBC is going to, the top rank's going to risk him against a guy like Bohachuk, so I don't see it. Vito Mielnicki, good fighter. I'm not seeing this one next. And then Josh Kelly's moving to middleweight. For Bohachuk, I really think the Madrimov fight makes the most sense in terms of top tier competition. Other guys in the top 5, top 10 of the WBC, especially top 10, my overall top 10. I don't see the rematch with Ortiz. Again, I don't think Ortiz wants it. And then Charles Conwell, I think, makes a lot of sense because it's a highly rated fight in the WBC. Outside chance of Jesus Ramos because he's rated in the top 5 of the WBC as well. But I think Bohachuk's kind of in the same boat as Madrimov. It's going to be tough for people to believe. It's going to be tough for people to want to fight this guy because he's not a huge name, but he did perform very well. And sometimes that comes, as I said at the beginning of the video, that comes with a negative. When you perform well against a top-tier fighter and you don't have a big name, people might run a little bit scared. But the cool thing that I think Bohachuk's got working for him is he's a knockout fighter, one. So he's not that prototypical Eastern European fighter that's like a pure boxer, like a Dimitri Bivol, who's been avoided. He's a brawler. He's a boxer. He hits hard. And I think it's going to be hard to avoid this guy. I do. And I think Bohachuk and Madrimov make a ton of sense. But for other guys, even if it's somebody like a Michel Soro, which I think is a possibility, like I could see Bohachuk returning on the Fury Usyk 2 undercard. He's in Turki Al-Sheikh's good graces. Again, apparently, Al-Sheikh came up to him after the fight with Ortiz and told him he thought he won. So that means Al-Sheikh is going to want him to fight for him again. So, there's a big push here. I think Bohachuk's going to get a good, solid-ass fight next. And even if he doesn't get a top 10 guy, he's going to get decent opponent, but on a big card. And, I really wouldn't be surprised to see him return on December 21st, when Usyk and Fury fight in the rematch. So we'll see what happens, but that's it. That's what I got. That's my what's next on former WBC interim champion at 154, Serheii Bohachuk, following his second pro defeat at the hands of Vergil Ortiz and a very, very good fight of the year candidate. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.